All right, move to Matt then. Kind of the bigger venture capital firm, right? And you've been in venture for a while. I don't want to date you because you're a young man still, but you have a lot of experience both running your own funds, being part of the Pritzker Group, looking at things all over the country. What's your perspective on when people should really think about raising that big venture capital round for the first time?
I mean, I think that when you start thinking about venture, most companies shouldn't take venture money. There needs to be a match between the two. So when I say match, it has to be an opportunity that's going to grow significantly, will need the capital, can leverage partners, introductions, things along those lines, because it's a very close, very tight relationship. If we put $10 million into you and own 30% of the company, we're a partnership. And now we have a very different perspective than most funds because we don't have LPs. We have JB and Tony's $7 billion balance sheet. So we can write 100,000 to 100 million. And it allows us to be flexible. We don't have to sell to get a return. We don't have to get markups, things along those lines, which in the Valley right now is driving a lot of behavior because they have to market to LPs. So they have two customers, right? They have LPs and they have the entrepreneur. And sometimes those aren't necessarily in sync. So it's really you have to be very careful about who not only the firm is, but the partner that you're dealing with. And what's their history been when the shit hits the fan? Do they roll up their sleeves? Do they open their Rolodex? Do they support? Or do they go into survival mode thinking, oh God, I'm not going to raise my next fund, and fire the CEO and go into that mode? And so we've been pushing very aggressively, increasingly towards this notion of, for lack of a word, venture is a platform for good, which is, we're in it for the long haul with you because our capital is patient. But you've got to realize that there should be an inverse proportion between a relationship between the amount of risk and uncertainty and how much capital you raise. You don't want to be piling in the capital when you've got a lot of uncertainty because you've got a lot of people now who are going to be depending on you, and you want to have kind of degrees of freedom to move, right? And if you have all this capital and all these expectations, in fact, your money could be a hindrance, right? You could end up getting removed. It's just not a good situation. So my advice is, and we'll talk a little bit about how do you raise from a venture capital firm. It's actually a very simple formula. Not always easy to execute, but it's a simple formula we'll talk about later. But at the end of the day, you've got to say, is my business at a point where I've got enough visibility that I want to put high-octane fuel on it and go hard at it? And am I comfortable forming a very tight relationship, much tighter than you would with, say, certain angel investors or friends and family at the end of the day? Or take money from these two who are entrepreneurs and you get the best of both worlds. You get money and...
That's right.